Hello, today I would like to discuss the disparities facing rural communities and their access to quality health care. To begin, I would like to share a brief story about a rural woman who died due to a lack of quality services. A young mother from Marietta, Florida had gotten into a car accident and was taken by ambulance to the local healthcare clinic in her town to have tests done on her to check her health status. With the equipment available at the health clinic, the woman was deemed healthy with some acute abdominal pain. However, the physician could not image the patient due to a lack of imaging technology at the local health clinic. Because of this, the woman died of internal hemorrhaging. If in an urban setting, the lack of technology would not have been an issue and the young mother could still be alive. That was an intense story, but with some hard truths. Displayed on the screen is a graph of the United States that depicts rurality in the nation. All green areas are considered urban, and all the lighter areas are considered rural. Rural is defined by the U.S. Census Bureau as any population, housing, or territory outside urban areas. Rural areas also have more elderly people and children, higher unemployment and underemployment rates, and lower population density with higher percentages of poor, uninsured, and underinsured residents that participate and have riskier health behaviors as compared to urban residents. In a 2010 census report, 60 million people live in rural communities. That's 20% of the U.S. population. For rural residents, it is hard to get needed healthcare services due to either poverty, long distances, lack of transportation, or being uninsured. Because of these hardships, rural residents are less likely to use healthcare services and are less likely to report issues with their health, and as a result have worse health outcomes than urban individuals. When residents of rural communities do utilize healthcare services, they go to either a small community healthcare facility or clinic. Rural healthcare centers also tend to be under-equipped and understaffed when compared to urban healthcare facilities. In high minority rural counties, the residents there tend to see a general decline in quality of service at health clinics as compared to rural counties with a high white resident population. Also, high minority rural counties tend not to have updated health clinics and are almost always understaffed. In a report that looked over the progression of rural healthcare alongside urban healthcare from 2001 to 2014, showed a decline in rural health over the years and higher rates in heart disease, suicide, and obesity as compared to rates in urban areas. A reason as to why this happened is because of a lack of healthcare professionals in rural areas, and this is attributed to little to no healthcare technology. As a result, there are smaller numbers of specialists in these areas. Also, due to the lack of adequate compensation for services rendered, there is a shortage of generalists in rural areas. Some of the reduction in compensation has come from insurance companies pulling out of rural markets because they are less profitable. To get medical professionals in underserved areas like rural communities, the National Health Service Corps was created. The NHSC works as a scholarship and loan repayment program by asking medical professionals to work a minimum of 2 years in the underserved areas. However, for physicians, once the repayment program is over, they tend to move away from the rural community and move to an urban setting and end up practicing there, and this causes an issue as recruitment for physicians in rural areas is increasingly difficult and can leave rural residents without proper medical care. Rural areas in the United States face a lot of disparities, and as seen in reports on the access to care in these areas, it is only getting worse. To help against this further decline, some articles suggest that the government be more involved in funding underserved areas and allotting more national healthcare funds to rural areas to help improve clinics in these communities to hopefully attract more up-and-coming healthcare professionals that will stay in a rural setting. Also, the government giving more resources to rural communities so that they may access healthcare like transportation or health insurance is another way to make some headway. Here are my discussion questions. Since some rural communities are on the outside of urban areas, and it being difficult for rural residents to get to a health clinic, what can urban healthcare do to reach out to these communities to help improve the access to healthcare in those areas? Second, what are other incentives other than the ones stated in the video that can help retain medical professionals in rural communities? What can be done so medical professionals will want to stay and serve in those communities indefinitely? Thank you for watching my video, and let me know your thoughts to my discussion questions in the discussion below.